Hey, we are going to talk through today building out your very first blog site and some blogs to add to your website page or to create an entire site for your blog that exists whether it's in your website or not and it's just a blog site. I'm going to walk you through that right now. So buckle up. On your left hand side, you're going to navigate to sites. This and then across the top, you're going to go find blogs. And this first page that's going to open up is going to be where the blog sites live. So right here are blog sites, and these are the actual pages that the blogs live on. So they can exist by themselves and be their own quote unquote website, or once you build out a blog site and you build out a bunch of blogs, you can actually just pull those blogs in to a web page on your website through widgets. Either way, perfectly fine. Both are an option, and you do not have to use the blog site if you don't want to. You can just pull in the blogs via a widget, which I'll show you in a moment. But I wanted to make sure that we understand what the word blog site means and why it's different than the actual blogs themselves. You can have as many blog sites as you want. So if you are a person with multiple websites or multiple different businesses, this is really ideal because you can segregate the different blogs and the different topics so that they match with the specific website or business that you're writing for. So you can have different sites for different types of blogs and be able to keep them separate. We are going to talk through creating the very first blog site and creating blogs within it. So you'll just hit create blog. And this is where you'll set up the blog site. Again, you just need to give it a title right now. So we'll just say test site. And then it just needs a slug, and then later on you can actually connect a domain. And again, it can live all by its lonesome if it needs to. Just test blog. If you already have a subdomain that is blog.yourdomain and it's already added into Automation Automation, that would be the perfect chance to add it right into it, and it can already have its own page. So once we create our blog site, now we are actually within the blog site that we just created. And this is where we can actually begin to create the blog posts that go on the blog site. If you are someone that has a past blog somewhere and there is a URL record of those blogs, there's a chance that you can import them. Now, I will say we've done several different blog imports from different types of blog places, and some pull in perfectly and there's no issue at all. And some blog sites don't come over as perfect. And I'm sure that will develop more as time goes on, and there will be an easier way to communicate with those other blog sites and get them in. But I will just say it's worth a shot if you have blogs somewhere else. So you can go to imported content, create an import, and it will pull up this page, and you'll give it the URL for the blog homepage, the URL for the most recent post, and then where it's hosted. So WordPress, HubSpot, or not sure. And so again, we may grow in the options that we're able to work with. If you're not on WordPress or HubSpot, I would try it anyways. I've gotten a couple of other ones outside of that to work. Once you get that all set up, you hit continue. It's going to go look around and try to get data from it. And it's going to come back and it's going to ask you a couple questions like, is this the right photo? Is this the title of the blog? Is this the author? Is this the content? And it's just checking the information it's getting and wanting to make sure that's right. You'll check or say yes or no, depending on if the information is right, and then hit continue, and it will continue to import if it can. Once they're imported, those blogs the imported blogs that were able to come over, they will appear in a list right here. They're not published and they're not a part of your blog site yet. They're just imported. And then all you would have to do is click inside, make sure that the formatting is really good. I would definitely check formatting. Some places the formatting doesn't perfectly come over and you might want to adjust it, adjust image size, font size, all that good stuff. And then once you really feel good with the format, you can actually publish it to your blog site. So that's a cool little side note. Then if you're creating from scratch, you're just going to hit create blog post or new post at the top once you've already created your first one. And it's going to open up like this. It's very much like a Word document, so there's not a whole lot of guessing. You've got your bold, italicized, underline, your font size, and whether or not it's a heading or a paragraph, your alignment, indentation, outdentation, spacing of text, bullet points, numbered list, checklists, highlighting. You can add links in here, images in here, audio in here, video in here, quotes where it kind of like pulls it out and shows, it's a little bit different. It's got that little line that appears right there that's grayed out, kind of pulls it to the center stage of your text. Emojis, you can also insert dividers into your text. You can insert embedded code. So if you've got some custom coding that you want to add and you're really good at that, you can work with Content AI to help you out. Up here is where you set the title of the blog, and then you just begin typing. Anything your heart desires. You make it as fancy or as pretty as you want, or as plain. And at the bottom, once you have set up an author and a category, the author will actually, your little picture, it will be a little picture down here with your name and the description and the social links that you give when you're setting up an author, and we'll talk through that in a second. Once you're done with your test post, I'll just write something here so that we're able to see how to save and continue. So we're going to hit save, and then we'll go to continue. And here you have on the left-hand side, you have all of the specifics for the post. So you can put it in draft mode, publish it, or schedule it out. You can give it a slug, which is that last little bit of the URL. So I would always just recommend doing the name of the post with little dashes in between each word. You can select a category. If you've already got several, then you'll be able to just select the category. If you need to create a new category, then you'll give the category label, an image. Always give it alt text if you give it an image, and then give it a slug. So if this is test, then we give it an image, give it SEO, and then test again, and then we give it a test description. And right here it will show you the what it expects for pixels to make it a really good image that shows up the right way. So I would just make sure to use this recommended size when you're choosing your photo or creating it in Canva. Then you just create, and now I have another category I can choose from. As far as authors, you can choose an author that's already been created, or you can create a new one where you'll put the name, your photo, again it gives you recommended size, alt text behind that image if you pick one. You'll give it description and put all of your social links in there, and you're good to add another author. If you need links within it, you're more than welcome to add those here, and keywords down here. And when you're putting in your keywords, you just want to make sure to enter it and then press enter, and it saves. And then press enter, just so it really sticks in. So once you've created the keyword, press enter and it will stick. And then on the right hand side is your SEO metadata. So the title of your post, an image for your post, the text, and the description. And then when you hit preview, you'll be able to see it exactly as you've set it up. So we'll just do test post as the title. I'm going to go ahead and give it an image real quick. you'll see the image you've chosen, the title, the date that it's going to publish, how long of a read it is, and the actual text as it goes down. And then you can draft it, publish it, or schedule it accordingly. And I just encourage you to have fun with these posts. It's pretty straightforward and easy as soon as you jump in here and get your hands dirty and start doing the very first few. And then after that, you'll get the hang of it and everything will be set up just like you need it to be going forward, and you won't have to do as much work up front anymore. So that first day of just kind of building out the site, building out your authors, building out your categories and stuff if you've already got them somewhere else. And then if you don't have any of that right now, you don't have to worry about it. You can build as you go. I wanted to show you let's see. I don't think it saved any of the things I did. The one thing I wanted to show you was the author and what that looks like. So give me just a moment. Let's hit draft, and then I wanted to show you what the author will look like at the bottom of that blog post. If you are a company with lots of people and lots of helpers and lots of writers, you can have as many authors as you want, and when people write the blog post that week, you can have them featured at the bottom. So it'll have the image you choose, your name, your description, and then your social links, which is great. All right, and that is how you produce your first blog site. You write up your first blog post and you go to publish it. I did want to show you one other thing while we're here, just so that you're able to see a full view of stuff. Once you go into your, if you are out here at the very first view, when you very first hit blogs, and you hit this settings cog, this is where you can create all of your authors all at once and all of your categories all at once. And that can be the only thing that you do in that moment without being surrounded by everything else that's going on. So if you wanted to set up all the authors and the categories first, they're right here. And then that's under that settings cog right there. And when you go into a blog site and you hit edit blog site, this is going to take you into what I was talking about before, which is basically creating a separate website for your blog that would be able to live anywhere on its own with its own domain and coexist outside of your website if you wanted it. And this is a web page builder just for the blog home, and there's a blog home and a blog post, and you can come in here, and just like the page builder, you can add elements. So you can add a navigation to make it look just like your actual website. It can have its own headers and navigation. It can have its own footer. This can be its own entity with its own branding if you wanted it to be. And then that's where we would attach it to a subdomain, and then you could use that however you wish, wherever you wish. And then if you don't want to go through the process of building out its own blog site and having it separate, when you have it a part of your website on a page that would just be a blog page, we'll go look at what that looks like. So we'll go to website, we'll come into coaching sample website, and let's add a new page. And this will be our blog page. Blog. Okay. So now we're just going to create a blank. And then you can create your sections. This could be the navigation up here um, that you create. It can be exactly like your other. So if you've got a global section that's already in all of your other on your other pages, you can pull that straight on over. Um, so I'm just going to give us a basic navigation menu up there. Ooh, double T. Okay, and then we can hit another section. We want it full width. And I am going to show you how to add the blog pieces that are elements to a page. They're right here. So you can add the navigation, which I always recommend. And then you get to choose which categories are shown, and you can edit the categories themselves. Pull over the blog posts, and it will pull over as many blog posts as you want. So then you can select which blog site you want on which page, how many show up on the page at a time, and you can make it as little or as much as you want. And then you get to customize the button. You get to customize the look and feel of how the blogs are displayed. And then there's one other element that we can bring over, and that's social share. And it is share this on and these things in here. So you can add as many of these as you want, and you can style it. You can choose what shape the icons are, if they're colored, if they're gray. So there's a lot of play when it comes to sharing, and then you'll actually see that what it would look like when they hover over it and the message that they would see. And then you've basically created a page for the blog to live on via widgets on your website. So there's two different ways to go about. I prefer this way because it stays. It's a page on your website. It's attached to it. But if you're someone that has lots of websites or a presence that is in a lot of different places, and you want to be able to use that, just have a singular kind of blog site that is by itself, then you can do that as well. I hope that was super informative and really helpful, and I hope you guys have a great day.